Yep. Welcome to Perch Academy.
It's been almost 150 years since an angler cast the first ever artificial worm. Since that fateful day, the humble worm has evolved into a whole family tree of soft lures and rigs, all with one common goal: to catch the big one. Nowadays, we're blessed with a huge range of soft lure fishing styles: Texas rig, Carolina rig, Dropshot, Ned rigs, Cheb heads. But did you ever stop to wonder where they came from? As the name suggests, many were developed by American bass anglers looking for that competitive edge. And luckily for us at Perch Academy, many of those styles are ideal for catching that beautiful, unpredictable, and aggressive little predator we love, the perch. Perch live everywhere, from the Arctic Circle to the Mediterranean, both saltwater and freshwater. But that doesn't mean they're easy to catch. That's where Perch Academy comes in. We're here to help you learn the skills and techniques perfected by those super competitive and super innovative American bass anglers, so you can catch a perch like a pro. Whether it's worms, creature baits, or crayfish, modern perch fishing is a universe of exciting and efficient methods that can help you catch more than ever before.
Big one, 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 big one. Big fish, big fish. Big fish, big fish. There's thousands of lures out there for perch fishing and almost as many techniques. But in this episode of the Perch Academy, we're going to talk about Texas and Carolina rigging. In the mid-60s, Bill Dance made the Texas rig super popular by winning 7 tournaments more or less back to back. And later in the 70s and the mid-70s, he made the Carolina rig equally as popular, also by winning with this technique in several bass tournaments. So today, we're going to show you how effective it is to fish with the Texas rig and the Carolina rig when you got a lot of debris, sunken trees, snags, and weed. We're going to go out and we're going to catch some perch. Welcome to the Perch Academy. I'm on this little river here, the absolute perfect place for Carolina rigging. Let's do this. Dragging that worm right behind it. Boom. Right on the ripworm here. So perfect example of that Carolina rigging. The sunken tree here. And I just pulled the ripworm through that sunken tree and boom. Not a giant, but that's how it's done. Carolina rigging.
So baby, meet me down by the Roanoke River where the cool dark water meets the full moonlight. If we can sneak away, maybe we could be together. Candle bites, time to love
Whoa, huge bite. Let me just run you through the basics of this Carolina rigging here. So let's put this one back first. Super good method when we're fishing these small venues where we got a lot of debris, sunken trees and stuff. They chase ragworms. I use a steel sinker here. I've got 2 little glass beads that creates this little clicking sound. And I've got my trace here, which is about 1/2 meter or so. So I want to fish relatively close to my weight here. And I can leave it semi-exposed, or I can put it all the way in so it's super snag free, like that. Let's try that. Small one. That's a fish right there. Perfect right there on the Carolina rig. Super strong, aggressive little river perch here. Super effective with a ripworm, rigged on an offset worm hook, just like that. Boom. That was just some good fish on the Carolina rig under these difficult conditions where the Carolina rig performs perfect. I'll show you how to tie the rigs. I recommend our soft fluorocarbon. Super easy to tie knots, high knot strength. I'm using this orange braid here to illustrate how easy it is to tie the knot. The idea behind the Carolina rig is to fish a soft lure weightless behind a weight. So it runs on a little trace, anything from a foot up to 3 feet. It runs behind this bullet weight here. So let me show you how easy it is to rig it up. The first thing I get is one of these offset worm hooks. I really prefer fishing on the carolinarig baits like the ripworm and the reaction crayfish, something that kind of hovers and suspends even at slow speed over the bottom. It's awesome for big perch. So I'll show you my favorite knots here, how to tie these on. The first thing I do is I think it's called a double looped blood knot. So I make this little loop here first. I pass the line through the eye 2 times. So you create that little loop like so. And then I make 4 turns. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I pass the tag end through both loops like that. And this knot here is super strong and it's easy to tie and pull down tight. I can cut my tag end off all the way in like so. In the other end, I tie a small swivel and I use exactly the same knot. So now I got my little trace here, cut the tag end off, and then I take my main line, and on the main line here, I actually have a bullet shaped weight here. This comes in many sizes and forms and shape. The ones from Savage Gear are made out of steel, and there's a reason for that, because we also have these little magnetic iron beads here that will cling on to the weight like so. So you can actually make and add more weight to that little bullet, and it makes a little click every time it's separated. Then I put a little glass bead onto my main line, and this is mainly to create this sound when the iron bead hits that metallic sound, but it's also to protect the swivel, because during the casting this metal here will hammer down on the swivel. So again, here I tie my main line onto the swivel. I use the double blood knot. You can tie your braid directly and let the braid run directly down to the swivel, but I prefer to have a piece of a little bit thicker fluorocarbon on a filament line that I then have a loop in the end here that I can then attach to a micro snap or tie into my braid. And this loop, I just do 2 turns. And the reason I use a little bit thicker here, mono like 0.30 or even 35, is to take a little bit more abrasion from the sliding weight on this area right here. So that is basically the standard Carolina rig. So big perch, they just love structure. They like to hang under overhanging trees. Yep. And under the tree there. Yes. So shows you, even though the conditions are so difficult, you got so much debris, I can still get in there and get the perch out onto that tree right there. So that's where Texas rigging really comes into effect. You got so much debris, you got sunken trees, and you need to fish all the way in there. The Texas rig is somewhat different from the Carolina rig because you got the weight all the way down to your bait. So basically that pulls the lure down, the weight of the bullet you put in front of here, and I got a little silicone stopper in front. So that gives me the ability to basically throw my soft lure, in this case a ripworm, straight into the snags, right under the trees like we got here. Crazy cover. And just as it falls, you'll feel they pick it up because they are in their safe zone. It's almost a hook and hold situation. So completely impossible to fish here, it looks like. But with the Texas rig, I can actually fish it. And there's also a tree. Yep. Oh, that's ambush fishing right there. Yeah, got him over that snag. Yes, good fish, good fish. And that's where we like to catch him with the Texas rig. Boom, boom shakalaka, boom. Just completely engulfed it. So you saw that snag right there. I bet you there's gonna be fish on all these trees here. Big ones too. So that's where that really comes into effect. Right there, over that branch. Let's see if that might give us a fish. That certainly did in that tree. Man, where's he going? Where is he going? Whoa, where is he going? All right, ambush fishing. Wow. Whew. Boom. They love that ripworm on the Texas rig. So let me show you how to tie a Texas rig real simple. I use fluorocarbon. I'm using this orange braid here to illustrate. So the first thing I do is I slide a silicone stopper onto my main line, like that. So I have this little sliding stop up on the line. Then I put on my weight here. This is a bullet-shaped cone. These are made of steel, and the reason I like these steel ones is because they're actually magnetic. So when you combine them with a magnetic iron bead, then you can actually create this little magnetic field around the weight of your lure. Then I just tie my hook on, and again I use the same knot, the double loop blot, just like that. So that's how you basically just tie a Texas rig. Then when you put your soft lure on, you want to get the soft lure perfectly centered on the EVG hook, and that's how you do it, just like that. And turn the soft lure and you can cover the knot perfectly like that. And then you slide it through the bait, and on the back of the bait you can see that there's a slot here that holds the weedless hook in position, and you can basically pinch it right in there so it's completely weedless. Then you have your cone weight that slides all the way down to the bait, and you lock it in place with your silicone stopper, like so. So here is that Texas rig, super simple version, and you can basically throw that into a sunken tree and pull out your monster perch. So I'm going to be able to put that in places where it's difficult to throw Carolina rig. So basically the Texas rig is same components more or less as the Carolina rig, but I fish the weight all the way down to the lure. Few products that are really good for your Texas and Carolina rigging is, first of all, we got this kit here with 100 pieces in, where we have the steel bullets and magnetic beads, glass bead, hooks, silicone stoppers, everything. So that's a kit that contains basically everything you need to get started for the Texas and Carolina rigging. And then we got the ripworm kit, where you get an assortment of weights and rigs and stuff, and you got a lot of the worms in 2 different sizes. Again, a perfect starter kit for your big perch fishing. Catapult cast. Yes, just like that. You can say I'm in a tight spot here. Yep, Texas rig, catapult cast.
So baby, meet me down by the Roanoke River, where the cool dark water meets the full moonlight. If we can sneak away, maybe we could be together. Candle by stop love tonight.
So for our perch fishing, we have some awesome rods in the SG2 range and the SG4 range. We've got the light game and the medium game that basically covers all that perch fishing perfectly, and we've got some very specialized rods for the dropshot fishing, the Texas and Carolina rigging, etc. You pair that up with a size 1000 reel or 2500 in the SG4, SG6 or SGS range, and you have a perfect setup for your perch fishing. Don't fish too heavy and overpowered. Make sure to have that sensitive feeling, and it's great fun to play the fish on this lighter setup. So guys, thank you for watching this episode of the Perch Academy. Like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, and check out the next episode where we're going to go in depth with the net style of fishing.